I will start presenting in a moment, but maybe let me do a short intro to myself and to the presentation before we start. As it was said, my name is Frantisek Jungr. I am responsible for product in Visa for Central and Eastern Europe. Uh, um, that kind of includes everything from basic products to more digital and innovative products and spread from Poland to Romania and Bulgaria. So as you can see, sorry I couldn't join you in person. I am actually in quarantine this week because of my family, so I'm working from home. As you can hopefully see from the video as well, everybody is healthy on our side so far, but quarantine is upon us, so we need to deal with that somehow. So if suddenly, one of my 3 kids will appear in the picture or you will hear some background noise, please excuse it from the start. So we can see that, a lot of us had to change the way how we interact and how we work and how we are present at certain events. And as we did through some minor changes in the way how we behave, I think majority of the banking industry actually went through much bigger changes, and it all accelerated the digital approach of the bank. So maybe if we can pick up some positive note on what is happening around us with the virus, definitely the digitalization in the banking have been accelerated and speed up very much in the last couple of years. So let me now start sharing the screen. Hopefully you can see it. Usually, companies start with introducing themselves, and but I thought this would be a hopefully waste of time for everybody when I would be starting talking about who is Visa and what we do. So I'm not gonna do that. Obviously, we are not a travel visa provider. We also don't issue cards as a visa, which is the usual kind of mistake which people has. But we are a network which provides a capability for our banking partners and finance partners overall to proceed payments. And also the way how Visa is being seen has changed over the last, I would say, not just last couple of years, but last kind of a decade, where from the traditional card transaction business, we moved to something much more advanced. And now we talk about multiple layers and multiple networks, which we are combining actually into one. What I want to focus on today, when I was thinking, what hopefully will be an interesting topics for you to hear and what I can share is that I picked actually 5 topics to focus on today. And those topics are picked based on my interaction with the banks, I would say, over the last 12 months. They are based on the topics they are brought up the most. Sometimes the topics are the most challenging. Sometimes the topics are most trendy. So not always it's about just something which they will be already doing, but maybe sometimes things which they think about doing in the future. So the 5 things which I will focus on are alternative payments, and in that case, I mainly will be touching on instant payments run on account-to-account systems, and talk about briefly about what some of the markets are doing, but also how Visa is looking at this. The second topic is sustainability. I think we all have seen how skyrocketing this topic have been over the last couple of years, from probably looking at very small number of people who were big fans of this movement to today everybody being on this wave, and every bank or every, not just a bank, but every financial institution, every company establishing a new roles within their systems, which looks at sustainability, eco-friendliness, etc. So again, the proposition of the banks and finance partners across the globe also needed to reflect this, and they started looking at how they can offer more sustainable products to their clients. The third topic is how do you want to be paid and also pay itself. And this I will touch on capability card-to-card payments, so-called Visa Direct, and how we have seen this capability, this new kind of a way of paying and being paid have increased dramatically in last 3 years. The fourth topic, digital currencies. Again, I think this is linked to kind of the hype which we see around the digital currencies and crypto. And we see more and more banks across Europe have started to thinking about what should be their role. And we see totally two different approaches. So let me talk about it in a moment as well. And the last topic, I think everybody kind of anticipated that e-commerce needs to be somewhere in those focus lines. We have seen again throughout the COVID a huge increase in the number of transactions and people's behavior, and people who haven't been shopping e-commerce now being there present. But at the same time, we can probably all agree and kind of say that the experience, the UX which ecom is providing at this moment is far from where we would like to be. So I will be talking about how Visa is approaching this topic. And then, the list probably could go on and on, at least for a few more topics. But two topics which I wanted to highlight before I go to the actual slides. And one of them is buy now, pay later. And the second one is further digitalization of the banking services. The digitalization, I'm not gonna spend time on this because this is what I've mentioned. The acceleration have been actually thanks to COVID have been speeding up. I think every financial institution realized that whatever was okay 2 years ago isn't okay anymore, meaning the more services, more capabilities, better UXs, and this is something what we see a huge improvement on traditional bank sides, maybe pushed a little bit by fintech community and by what fintech is doing. But I think a lot of the traditional banks are now catching up, and the gap between the fintech propositions and the traditional bank propositions is getting smaller and smaller. On buy now, pay later, I think again this have been largely driven by a lot of the actions done by the fintech community, and we can mention Charge After, Klarna, and many others across Europe and across the globe which have become very active. Also some local solutions which are available in, I would say, now almost in every market, which are also driving buy now, pay later. And I think what we have realized as well as a Visa, and I think what the traditional banking community have realized, that there is actually definitely a huge opportunity and a gap between what could be done and maybe where the fintech have shown a certain way forward and what we are currently doing. So apart from Visa just recently announcing our own Visa installment solution, which is now being piloted in 3 markets globally, and we hope to come to more European markets probably later next calendar year. There is also a lot which we can do and which we should be doing around analyzing the gap, analyzing the situation, and what we are doing is actually talking to the banks about what is their strategy in that space, and it can differ very much. It can be from we do have overdrafts, we do have loans, and we do have a credit cards, and this is enough. I think this was probably the answer I heard a lot, 2 or 3 years back when we started this installment or buy now pay later topic. Now I think majority of the players in our ecosystem realize that this is not enough, and they need to have a clear strategy on kind of buy now pay later. So I'm purchasing something now, the logic is the same as credit card, but the credit card has so many bad connotations, and it's so difficult for the consumers to grasp. So the answer is almost, how do we take the credit card and the features which credit card has and make them easier to understand, better UX, and get more people through the channel, and be probably less conservative on who gets the card, the loan, the buy now pay later or not. So again, on those two topics, as I will encourage you at the end on the other focus topics, I definitely encourage you to get in contact with us, or if not with us, just think about what you are doing in the buy now pay later space, because the digitalization is very much underway. And if you need any guidance, any help, you want to just discuss maybe your thinking, we are obviously happy to do it in this space as well. So let me get underway with a few of my slides. And the first one is related to these kind of instant payments infrastructure and what Visa is doing in this space. Uh, just to set the scene, as I said in the beginning, uh, from very traditional model which Visa used to have with ISO standards and all that, the company have evolved into kind of multi-rail payment environment. And apart from the traditional plastics, we do, X-Base, but we also do B2B Connect, a solution to move money for large corporations. We do Visa Direct, I will be talking about later. So on one network, actually we run today a multiple networks, and I think this is important to acknowledge. And as an additional layer to that, we do provide value-added services which links to these different networks and different capabilities. But when Visa started, thinking about instant payments and observing what is happening in Europe, mainly I would say lately in last couple of years, because instant payments have been here for last, I would say, 15 years rather than last few years, but the scale wasn't there, and maybe the hype around the instant payments wasn't there, and maybe e-com wasn't there as strong, etc. So many factors have changed, and because of that, many markets have now moved into instant payment capabilities, usually driven by the central banks as a supporting of this movement. And Visa have made a decision for now not to enter this space. So we are not in the line to provide these instant payment kind of infrastructures for the markets or for the central banks. But we decided that we will actually be active in the space of providing a value-added services to those systems, because we believe that Visa has a lot to offer when it comes to real-time payments and real-time experience. We do have a very strong kind of a background and brand on one side, maybe a very advanced technology and trust in us. So we thought when we bring these kind of uh, 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 skills and together with the instant payment infrastructure which is being put into the systems, into the place in different markets, it can be quite a win-win for both of the sides. And maybe let me highlight a couple of things here. As I have been involved in those discussions in many markets, including Hungary, Czech Republic. Maybe let me reiterate those two examples. And each market has slightly different path going forward, and that's why we think that our approach is kind of be complementary to the approach which each market actually is taking. So where in Hungary the approach was very much, I would say, regulatory or government driven, the platform was established and every player in the market needs to actually utilize the platform. In Czech Republic, in contradiction, the example was that yes, still it was driven by the central bank as an kind of an activity, as a capability, but the banks are open, and it's up to them, how they joined and how they utilize the ecosystem. So both of those systems, we believe that we can provide certain areas of values. Doesn't matter if it's about expanding use cases and providing additional layer of infrastructure, picking up on the instant payment capability, obviously linking to an on banking as a vital topic, or an to ensure that these instant payment capabilities can be easily utilized by consumers with the right UX. I think no surprise that with our organization and also we have a lot to provide in that aspect as well. And of course, optimizing the efficiency, which relates to, for example, dispute resolution. So still, even that we, as I said, decided not to be an active provider of such a platform, we have decided to be an active provider of value-added services, those actual. And just to kind of close up this topic on kind of open banking strategy and how we are looking at it. Kind of open banking as a topic have been, very hype topic for last, I would say, several years. But still, the tangibility of what is being provided is probably very, very limited. And again, we believe that working together, we can provide additional value into that ecosystem and make sure that the open banking is utilized as much as possible. Moving to sustainability, and I think I would compare it to maybe card designs. When we talk about card designs, it seems that everybody is an expert on how the card should look like and how the design should look like. I have the same feeling on sustainability. Every person I'm talking to has a very strong opinion. They have a very strong connection. They see and they think that they provide the ultimate and the right approach. Uh, so I think it's about how we can bring customers a good experience, something which will drive their engagement and increase the engagement with the bank itself. I think we have seen probably years ago several tries when certain financial institutions were providing benefits in terms of maybe spend with the card and we will plant a tree for that or something like that. But I think the proposition and the trend of sustainability have moved on, and now we need to look at it from various actually perspective. So it's about obviously plastic waste reduction, and yes, cards are still in majority done from the plastic. So many banks have taken a different approach to use more sustainable products. Let's say drastic approach where they say, okay, do we the digitalization? And I think we still do on many occasions. So we will not survive without the plastic, at least not for now, on some of the occasions. But on some occasions we do. Maybe if we do have a second, third plastic, we really don't need to have a plastic, but a digital card would be sufficient. It's about supporting local initiatives, products, and producers as well. So linking actually what we do with what is actually happening locally. Uh, uh, Obviously, it's about saving and buying the quality product. So it's not about it's kind of going against the trend of consumption and consuming a lot, which I think again in recent years, thanks to this kind of sustainability trend, is on the decline. At least again in some of the markets, not all. Uh, it's about financing and providing some small green investments, and also obviously using digital payments overall, which I have already mentioned. So again, we have been working with that as a Visa. One thing which I already mentioned is the plastic itself, and again we see banks already providing wooden cards. We see banks providing sustainable plastic cards, recyclable cards, etc. I think it's not a matter of if this will happen, but we see that this is happening across the board, and if a bank doesn't have a strategy in that space yet, they additionally have it very soon. And we are, as a Visa, very supportive of actually this trend. So providing kind of a sustainable materials or providing the digital overall. Then it's around eco assistant and maybe providing kind of certain awareness about understanding what my action actually drives when it comes to, for example, carbon dioxide or any other actually measures which we can. And I think I see again here an interesting movement. We have partnered with a company called Ecolytics a few years back. And it is actually more maybe a few years back, maybe 2 or 3 years back. We already started kind of heavy discussions with some of our clients. And I remember when we were discussing it 2 or 3 years back, it really wasn't on the radar for majority of our clients of banking industry. And they said, okay, it's nice, but it's nice to have, the small number of people who are actually very keen on being sustainable isn't big enough, and therefore the work which we would need to do isn't substantiated. But again, it have changed, and now we see a large pipeline of clients saying, okay, we need to do something more, we need to be more sustainable, and the trend is driven overall. It's about definitely some benefits related to eco shopping, and as an example might be that we have recently done a project in Czech Republic where we partner with one of our banking institution and created kind of a eco-friendly sustainable network of partners, which is linked to this kind of a sustainability movement. And I already mentioned the ecolytics. Again, this show an individual impact on the environment. So it provides you a CO2 calculator. So based on your card spend, together with ecolytics, we are able to provide you kind of your carbon dioxide footprint, and possibly link it to a certain kind of a donations. Like, do I feel guilty? Maybe I'm using the planes too much, but can I offset it somewhere else? So it's not about just informing, it's also providing some kind of an options going forward. And I think I covered majority of the things here. So just in a matter of time, let me talk about Visa Direct for a moment. So this is kind of linked to this instant payment movement, and the new ways actually we are being paid. And I hope that Visa Direct and whole this area doesn't need any introduction. Probably unless you have been on quarantine for last 2 years and you have been talking to anybody, I assume that you have witnessed this trend. You have seen what is happening, and you have seen quite a lot of partners, merchants, which are started to utilizing different actually use cases in this kind of an ecosystem, from marketplaces for merchant settlements, from insurance, healthcare, payrolls. I think there is so many, gaming definitely being on the forefront of that, winnings in the gaming and how these winnings can be actually distributed. So just an overview of some of the funds disbursement options, which I think in majority of the markets, and very much including Romania, we see across going forward. I think the secondary trend which came as a follow-up was kind of more how we can utilize it towards money movement. So the same platform, same rails, but not just for the funds disbursement, but also how we can use it to send money around. And again, with digitalization and acceleration of digitalization, this became a larger topic. Here, just a few of the examples of who is currently using Visa Direct rails, and you see some of the large global players now utilizing this service. We have seen, a triple-digit growth in terms of the Visa Direct transactions across the globe, and that Europe's included. So when we probably started talking about it, 4 years back, as with new innovation, every new thing, some people were skeptical how quickly this will pick up and what will be the scale of this going forward. But now we can, with 100% and 10 certainty, we can say that this is a capability which is here, which will stay, and which will keep on building on with different use cases. Just to make it a little bit more tangible, obviously we see also many use cases in Romania, as we are being, at least for me, virtually based in Romania. I wanted to also bring this tangibility here, so you don't kind of just say, those are global players and global trends, but we see very much this happening in every market we are operating in. Some markets like Romania, I would say, being more advanced, and some markets still catching up. But I would say within the next 12 to 24 months, this will be very much penetrated anywhere we look. What we see and what we hope is that this trend will move into person to account more significantly, as we have recently started discussion with many of our traditional clients about how these rails could be used to move money abroad, how we can actually this solution can make it more visible, faster, and more flexible. So I think from the, as I said, from the disbursement option, we are now moving more towards money movement and money and sending money either person to person on a card or person to account. All these options are currently kind of not just on the table but already in the development and in the pipeline for many of you. So again, if this is something which resonates and you haven't thought about it yet, I think it's a good time to revisit this. Digital currencies, and I know you have been talking over the last these day over the conference days about this. So for me, it's just probably sending a few of the messages, and also maybe sending a message which not everybody is realizing, that Visa is being very active in the space of digital currencies. And I'm not talking just crypto. I'm talking stablecoins and central bank digital currencies. I'm talking all three kind of streams which Visa have become very active over the last 2 or 3 years, and definitely this trend will continue. I think whatever we think about cryptocurrencies and how volatile they are and unstable, and some people are big fans and some people are big opposers, this trend will actually stay here in whatever form and shape. And that's why we believe as a Visa and as a banking community, we need to have a clear kind of a strategy and clear plan on how we are addressing this opportunity. Talking about blockchain as a backbone of this, or talking about different use cases as a stable coin or crypto by itself. So as kind of our approach of network of networks, I think this kind of fills in very nicely, and we need to make sure that actually we are linked to these, and just provide a few of the examples of what we are
Mr.
currently
Jungr, sorry to
doing.
interrupt you. We have a couple of minutes, so if you can
I
to
will
summarize.
I will wrap it up. Wrap it up.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. So when it comes to the digital currencies, we have been working with certain providers, and we have been working mainly with our banking partners to actually provide a strategy for the bank. And we see totally two different approaches. Some of the banks are saying we don't have to, you don't want to do anything to do with crypto, and for us this is a topic which we are not touching. And we have some very traditional banks which are saying we cannot kind of leave this topic alone, and we need to have a clear strategy. And that's where Visa steps in and helps out. And touching very briefly on the last topic of e-commerce, as this topic will be very much on the forefront of Visa going forward in the next calendar year in majority of our CE markets. As you know, Visa have been rolling out click-to-pay solution across the markets globally. We will be looking very closely at the CE market over the next months. We are rolling out in Czech Republic and Slovakia. We are analyzing the situation for the remaining market, Romania, Bulgaria, Croatia, Slovenia, you name it. So we believe that the UX is very much needed to be improved, and that's why we are bringing the click to pay into the markets, and we will follow up with discussion. And my last note is on an activity which we have done in Poland, and also happy to discuss further. We have actually launched a Visa mobile solution just recently, which is based on the click-to-pay infrastructure, but it's utilizing a mobile phone as a key initiator of such a transaction and key identifier of such a transaction. So sorry, I took probably a little bit longer to overrun. I think this have been serving, and the intention of mine was kind of give you a quick run of what we are doing, what we are focusing on, what our banks are actually focusing on. But we are more than happy now to kind of deep dive into this topic further with you. So this is kind of like an invitation to you. If any of this is interest to you, please let's discuss. Let's talk with our local colleagues. And we can definitely find a good and joint way of approaching this. Thank you.